Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're joining you here once more for our quarterfinals. This bracket's been phenomenal so far, and we're back. The EVC East Open qualifier right around the corner. We'll see what's up. New person joining me this time. We got Volt on the desk, and unfortunately, Dante is no longer here. R.I.P. Miss him.
Yeah,
already.
man. Look,
But
he's the
we have
mad
Volt.
Dante. He's not just any
Yes,
Dante, okay?
mad,
Give my man his props, okay? I've
and a
got to
killer
say,
too.
look, it's a bittersweet situation, right? I miss Dante, but I get to reunite with you. It's been quite a while, and there's actually like quite a lot of stakes because you look at the way that like the bracket is formatted. I mean, theoretically, there's a hypothetical where a team that comes from this open qualifier that can unironically go play against some of the VCT teams later down the line.
Yeah. But whether or not that will happen, it is definitely up to them, right? Can they be able to pull it through? Obviously, this is just the first step, right? You still have to qualify to this. You have to qualify. Then you play in another qualifier, and then you're playing in the kickoff, and then you have to qualify through that to play in VCL. There's a lot of roads to follow, right? And this is just the start. This is where these two teams are going to be able to make their mark, and you got to win it here, right? This is the starting point during the quarterfinals. You've made it through the round of 16. You made it through the group stage. Two very impressive feats in its own right. But this is where the pressure really does start to mount. We start on the map pool, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get a little bit of a look at that. But you would imagine that the maps that we do have tonight should be able to get some good stuff going. Yep, there we go. We got Abyss to start us off, going over to Bind, and then Haven. Two of the three maps that we did see in the last series. So, Volt, I want to get your thoughts, right? You're the smart one. You got the big brain. You got all that going for you. What do you think we could possibly look to see over on these maps?
I mean, like, first of all, the maps kind of give you an indication, at least from the bind, when you look at it, that it's going to be a pretty fast to lose game. But we're actually going to start things off on the Abyss. So we'll see how things are going to happen there. I believe that it actually is, if I'm not mistaken, Fast Learner's map pick. I'm just going to double check on that one. It is indeed. So Roko actually chose to start on defense. And I believe we're going to head straight to there. There we go. Straight into the Asian Select, and already one team comes in with a pretty made plan. You got the Astra, you got the Silva, you got the Waylay Jet. It's a combination that I like, but I do still think that, like, sure, like this is a pretty big map. People really like to op, so that's why people see the Jet a bit more. But I would have actually said, much like the rest of the meta, like the Neon Waylay is probably the better combination, but then you lose the value of that Sentinel, which we actually know we talked about. Adrix actually picking the Cypher. You look at Chewy on the other end. That Deadlock, I believe, in a combination with the Voice is going to be such a difficult defense to crack on both ends of the map.
Yeah, it should be a big matchup. We did see RokaHeat yesterday, a phenomenal team in their own right, being able to throw hands, to say the least. Now they're taking up a chance against the Fast Learners, coming in as the number 9 seed. Not sure whether or not that does mean anything. You'd imagine so, but we'll just have to wait and see. As they come into this bracket, they were definitely one of the stronger teams, but yeah, currently we're just going to be seeing the Fast Learners running a pretty standard composition, right? The Astra does get picked up for both teams, a very standard pick in the map of Abyss, as it's a very wide open map. Beyond that, we do see only a couple changes regarding the compositions, that being in the Sentinel position, taking a double Senti Rain. It is going to be that Vice along with the Deadlock to open up the defense for RokaHeat. Meanwhile, their opposition running that single Senti, being that Cypher, right? A little bit of a weaker Sentinel within the current meta, however, it does have a lot of info gathering options.
Yeah, well, information taken by brute force there. Fast Learner at the start. Look at the minimap, and you can see that they're actually pivoting back into that B site, which now with the mesh barrier deployed is going to be a much harder ask, especially on the pistols when that thing is fortified. It feels like it's nearly impossible to take care of. Minute on the timer, but at the very least, they do get the orb. It's a couple peaks that they'll have to deal with there, but the grab net can do so much work. It's already Swing God with the opener, looking for more. The double tap there, and then the shot straight to the head. An excellent start here from RokaHeat, and there it is. All the heat brought to you by Swing God. A quad kill just to start things off.
proclaiming the way this game will go. All right, Swing God, we saw him yesterday, a phenomenal player on this duelist role, and they're picking up the Jet with a Sheriff in hand and instantly putting forth a dominant performance. 4 kills on the round. Fast learner already going to be feeding this Blade Storm into him, and RokaHeat, we'll see what they are going to be able to do with it, as now they are going to be sticking to their same strategy, right? The Vice setup stays over towards the A site, locking the deadlock down on B, having 3 players controlling extremities down towards mid. You have the Outlaw, very strong weapon to deal with over investments from fast learners.
And there it is. Again, speaking of man, he delivers the Outlaw straight off to the start. Not that much damage taken to the other side. Maybe a drug just there. You know, with the angle. Could find a good timing. He's the one that could find the freebie. That's the dink. That's the kill. Not that there's much to be done, though, but a spike plant actually could make this one pretty intriguing. Yes, there's an outlaw, but that's a spike down. That's the more important part. Back-to-back quad kills seems to be on the board, and indeed, Swingot is farming in that second round as well. He's not going to stop anytime soon. And right now, he's 8-0 with the blades already at his hand.
Need a drop.
Yeah, it's looking very, very good for the RokaHeat roster off of already having the Blade Storms enabled. You might just want to try and opt into it. Keep the Outlaw in hand if you need to drop something that can work like the rifle. That certainly would be a nice tool to invest. But the Fast Learner, now that they have their money online, this becomes a good question.
Well, not the best of starts in comparison to the other part. But the part that is actually good, you know, fast learners are definitely trying to be sneaky about it. Like, Ain't is going to pull a lot of attention. But I want you to actually look at where they are still present. Like, the Cypher, still there towards that B side. They still got the options to pivot if they want to. And right now, nobody's there to contest. Gas just want to make sure that nobody's going to be peeking into him. But Chewy seems to be the one with the option. Not that the Outlaw's going to deliver a killing blow anyways. But it might leave a bit of pain. Not that it will actually do that for now. Instead, it's actually the Vandal that delivers the initial bout. The slight is theirs. 50 seconds on the timer. And it is indeed the opener, but it's immediately traded now as we head into a retake in a 4-on-4.
It's looking phenomenal as the spike goes down. The RokaHeat roster looking to play the retake. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to make it happen. Tool's not really available. The Arc Rose is going to be there. Monty having a bit of utility in their own right. The Dart will be there to instigate the engagement as they're looking to facilitate the information finds their way on in. Zoom backing up a little bit. They do have the Saturate still available to be able to clear out space. VQZ able to get the first as it is Kyoki down. However, this player from Maine still able to be a thorn in the side. RokaHeat all up to Famulki. Not able to make too much happen as they drop down, completely crunched around.
Yeah, good retake this time around. And Fast Learner, you know, just like the name suggests, you're doing pretty good. I gotta say, like, the fact that they're actually trying to contest that mid space, that is something that is good for them. But maybe now I would say the cards are definitely in the hands of RokaHeat and what they want to do and what they want to develop. And it seems like that they're not really thinking about changing their setup. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're working with that way. The opt out for Swing God as is. And it is actually going to go to middle. So they are attempting to contest that bit of space. And it is going to be A main, the other part we are going into from this one. Kyoke wouldn't take that peek, but instead he will. And he's actually going to be rewarded for it. That's a free opener. And a lot of space taken away on A main now with the second body going down to the smoke spam. They can't even cross that line because Kyoke is ready. A double peek for AIM. And he ain't going to get that much. It's a 2-on-5 in the end. Still separated. And it is actually allowing RokaHeat to feel like they can get something out of this one. And immediately, if it ain't Swing God, the rest of the team are still looking to make it happen.
Yeah, It's already looking good. Couple ults are charging sooner rather than later as we do see the convergent path online. Looking at this income though, right, there is the operator available. Swing God, they were phenomenal with the outlaw. Now when they have this op in hand, it'll be a question of will they try and leverage this in the mid to be able to force their opposition to respect it, make utility, get engaged. Now a bit of a problem with this fast learner comp is the fact that there's a lack of flashes available, right? So getting this op off the angle will be a very difficult task, and that's certainly something that could possibly become a bit of a thorn in the side. RokaHeat, they didn't invest heavily towards the B site, but looking at Chewy, they're going to be all they need. As they drop in the wall, the conversion path comes overboard and is instantly able to spray in, refracting immediately, getting out, but the space is being taken. It's a 4v4, but the site's there. RokaHeat, they've been in this situation before. It really was detrimental as the Cypher sitting main was a massive problem. This time, no Cypher, fast learners. How are they going to be able to adapt?
Well, I mean, right now, they're trying to adapt by guessing where it is actually coming from, and they weren't that wrong, actually, about it. Just about finding the shot. Swing God not able to find an initial bit of contact. He still finds the kill anyways. It's quickly traded by Aint, but the numbers just work in favor of RokaHeat. All those duels advantageous, and they find the angles that they need to. Sure, like you can say that the anchors haven't been the best, the fast learners keep getting into the site, but I feel that's not really them doing much. I feel like it's really by design from the way that they see RokaHeat approaching those retakes. It's quick, it's concise, and everyone knows their assignments when they're jumping out.
A fast learner just needing to build up the retake potential to stop it, right? But we saw Swing God, despite being called out, they were still able to find their victory. And then Family coming in from heaven, just absolutely dismantling this defense on site. So fast learners, unfortunately, they just didn't have too much they were able to make happen. This round is pretty pivotal as there is a big disparity within the economy. And if they keep losing, it really is just going to snowball out of control. Fast learner, they have that potential. They have a stinger, however, for VQC. Definitely an unfortunate weaponry. The spy cam able to make the connection, dropping in the wall, but unfortunately getting disparaged for it. There's Ant putting up the numbers, but it's not going to work for the RokaHeat roster. As now Shorty in hand, Swing God trying to make it happen. Dave able to connect it, swapping the op for the rifle. As now RokaHeat making it semi-manageable.
Yeah, well, manageable. We've seen it before, but this is probably the best odds for fast learners. They got even recon to perhaps make things happen. It's all about the timing for those peaks, and VQZ delivers the final lesson here. One more for Monty, though, and with that kill from Swing God, suddenly things are a lot easier, but Matuta probably got the angle to seal off the round. Time is ticking. It's all against Monty, and he couldn't find an initial peak. Yes, he takes down the Sova, but it's too little too late. The round is confirmed, and with it, he will also go down. And fast learner, bit by bit, step by step, as they would say, they're getting better and better in dealing with those retakes.
And lots of ults being brought up for the fast learner roster, as all but Zooms, who's already been able to achieve there. So it certainly is a nice, a little bit of an addition for them, and we'll see how they do end up playing it. Obviously, there's a lot of potential to play a post plant, as you have the wow, why am I blanking on the name? The Gravity Well, and beyond that, you also have your Hunter's Fury. Both are very good tools to be able to get the Spike Planter, Spike Diffuser off of the board. And now, instantly the Recon Bolt will be broken, not able to find any real information. Swing God sitting mid, having a couple pings coming out, possibly seeing the chit on the other side. However, we do look towards the B site, right? That's been where this has executed consistently, and it does seem as if the A will be faked in response, as everyone now starting to rotate over towards mid. Swing God having that tailwind activated will have to relinquish it in the end, as now the drone comes out, hearing it, getting spotted, having a lot of cloud bursts to be able to make something happen. Shots do connect. Still, however, the op has been spotted by the drone. They have that intuition, that information that this could possibly be a little bit disparaging. So they're playing corners. They're making sure to hide it in this. But the B site, it's already being submerged.
Yeah, a little bit more than that. They got 3 players ready. And if anything, you look at RokaHeat, this is one of those few rounds where they're going to be very late to the rotate, and the Cypher got the angle unlocked, so Chewy needs to find early success. That's the Annihilation gone, but they actually succeed in middle, doubly so. So despite them losing a player on the site itself, Pam Loki's still there, and VQZ is the last man standing, gets dropped on, but he still finds his own in the wall. His best save here, but not for too much. It's Samuki going to add one more. It's 3 rounds to the good now for RokaHeat, and they still got plenty of ultimates to probably lead it to a half win for them.
RokaHeat, this isn't their map pick. So there's a real world where they're able to completely shove the fast learners out of the bracket if they can keep this aggression going. 3 ultimates on the board, and they're looking good. We see the same setup. Actually, this time there's going to be the Astra committed to the B site, looking to lock this down. I guess they've kind of come to the idea that fast learner, they're really enjoying pushing down a B. Obviously, when it comes to the Cosmic Divide, it's an ultimate that thrives onto the B site. So that round made a lot of sense for them to go towards it, but they've been having that consistent pattern of, we like this a lot, and look at that, threading the needle. Shot goes in, gonna be hit by the recon dart, instantly breaking it though. Nice no scope from the Chewy gonna be able to get another one in BQZ. Down for the count. Femoki still, however, holding his angle, respecting the space. It's Swing God dropping down. The Ob comes offline, but the extremity still held significantly from RokaHeat as Chewy with a triple kill from the Outlaw. And Kyoki coming in from behind drops the side of fast learners to their knees.
And that's the force broken. Pretty sure if you pop the scoreboard here, you're actually going to see that their economy is down in the dumps. And that's not going to be a good look for them, I say that. But they actually still have some people that can afford the rifles. So maybe they did actually indeed manage their economy, which still, you know, they're not going to be in the best of positions. Still another Cosmic Divide present for the side of RokaHeat. Steel Garden, very competent on the retakes. The one trump card that they have, Fury of the Hunter. And Chewy might be rushed right now. That's the contact round, but they used the util early. And that is already prompting some rotations from the side of RokaHeat, but it might be too little too late. Ain't out in the open. Should be a freebie, and it's going to be doubly so this time. Again, multi-kills galore. And it's going to be Chewy to find yet another one. Knowing that there's one close, but he cannot hand it with VQZ. And leaves it in a 3-on-2 in the end. The blades are out. They still got the Steel Garden, but they might not even need it because Kyoki's going to dry swing this one. And he's going to take them all down. It's the Hop already won. 5 rounds to the good, Cherry. And while fast learners are getting ultimates on the board as well, it might be too little too late for them here.
We'd mentioned this in the previous series, right? I believe it was actually Mad Dante who had brought this up. The map of Abyss is the only attack-sided map of the game. Now, RokaHeat, they're making up for the fact that the defense is a little bit disparaging by utilizing a double sentinel composition. This is working out significantly well for them as they're able to completely lock down A and B at the same time. Now the Op comes on Vine, looking to switch it from mid to A. However, oh my lord, Zoom, a phenomenal player who's absolutely taking this game for a turn. The Sheriff, all they needed, now they convert the Operator to their side, able to pick that up. Ain't, however, gonna drop it. 4v4 situation, able to equalize, but the gun disparity gets even closer.
Yeah, and again, they're investing quite a bit here, actually, on the side of fast learners, so they would be hard done by if they're unable to find that much. The Cosmic Divide out early. And the Steel Garden here to the answer. And Monty again. How many times have we seen multi-kills from the players of RokaHeat? And I don't think that it is going to get any better for fast learners. Only the Op remaining. And probably not for long. You know, like, I'm not really feeling too good about fast learner now. Because while, yes, it is Roka's map pick, I got to say, like, we're seeing some lapses in some of the basics of the game. Like, one of the things that I want to point out is that we've seen one of two of their players, whether it's the Astra or the Cypher, keep making the same play on the B side. They just try to sneak in through B main whenever the rest of the team is trying to work middle. Eventually, they'll get telegraphed, but maybe that's not the problem because Zoom's actually found a double kill in the meanwhile. And he's made that one a 1v1. Chewy on the back foot. The bomb, or the spike rather, is planted for the back side, and there is an annihilation coming in. But it's to the wrong side, and the Op comes swinging. And in the most unlikely scenario, Zoom finds 3 kills with the Op to save the game there for fast learner.
You can't be letting that happen. Operator, all they needed, taking 3v1 and afterwards taking a timeout. That's tragic. If you're RokaHeat, you're going to be kicking yourself for that one. And it really was just so nice from Zoom as they found the first backside on A, taking the kill, noticing, okay, there's probably one playing close to take the swing. But after that, it just was rough. I think if you're the player playing close on A, you have to go for the swing after that. Like, after your first player dies, you know they have the op, you know they have that recoil, they have to try and reposition, they have to be able to restage, but they just kind of sat there, right? They took a static position and didn't really go for any, like, plays. And that's not something you could be doing, right? If you're on the RokaHeat roster, you have to be able to punish these kind of little just microaggressions. And unfortunately, they didn't really do that. Fast Learner was able to take the round, and it's not the end of the world, right? RokaHeat, they have a lot of options, but these are these small mistakes that are costing them, right? We saw this in round number 7 as well, I believe. Or round 6, sorry. And it's just these issues that are going to be a little bit detrimental, especially now that the economy does start to be disparaged at least a little bit. Swing God with 6k credits, they're going to have to buy an operator, meaning they won't be able to buy any teammates. So now if you look at that money, Monty only down to 1,200. They'll have barely enough to buy next round, but they're still the round after. So if they lose this one, it really could cause a little bit of a snowball to be 3 rounds in a row.
I mean, it would be great for Fast Learners. They can make it only a 2-round deficit after what looked like a very rough start to this game, but again, it's the same thing. You know, telegraph plays very easy to pick off, and the Hunter's Fury, after much deliberation, is used, and it is to absolutely 0 real-world value. And now they walk into the Den of the Voice. Support there for Monty in terms of that util. And Kyoki, present at Heaven. Should be a nearly impossible round for them to play. They're trying to trigger the wall, but I really like that it's actually a lot deeper than it usually would be. And it does make it a big commitment now. The smokes do fade, minute on the timer. Defender's Fury present, and the wall is triggered. All they need to do is to be patient. Monty can try to play for the ultimate, but he's going to actually snap a kill beforehand. They see the barrels, and it's pretty easy for Swing God, but that's an overcommitment there, and that could be their own undoing, but instead, make it a lot easier for them to find those kills because they got the numbers, they get the shots as per usual. And Roka denies anything that we've talked about their economy crumbling. And if anything, actually look at Fast Learner now. They are out on the brink. Like, sure, they got a couple of rifles, but then you look at the rest of the buys, 2 Stingers and a Sheriff. That's all that they're going to get. For most of their players, they don't even have ultimates to try to supplement that in any way. So it's looking like a grim attacking slide for them here.
To be totally frank with you, Volt, this is looking like a completely different RokaHeat than what we saw yesterday. Yes, Swing God is absolutely putting on the tear. That's something we saw. But the op crutch type playstyle that we see from them now, this was not something that was really in the toolbox yesterday. We saw them, I believe, on was like a Reyna or something, and just running it down with a rifle. Now, Tailwind into the updraft, able to get out of the fray. Looking at Chewy. 1, 2, 3. Everyone falls to Chewy. Going big, going crazy, as the Fast Learners drop like flies.
You would call him to rally, and the way that he's blinded by the lights there. And now Monty tries to deliver the same fate. It's a quad kill for the judge. Chewing them alive there at the end of the half. It's a 9-3 score. And I gotta say, I'm familiar with a lot of the teams here in the open qualifier. RokaHeat was not one of them. But with that kind of level, the semifinals are gonna be cracking. And realistically, I know that I'm looking a bit far forward because the semifinals are still to be played tomorrow, actually. But with the way that things are being played right now, I gotta say, I don't see a way out of this one for Fast Learner. I feel like their fate is sealed as is.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. Because right now, a 9-3 half certainly looms to look towards RokaHeat finding victory as Fast Learner needing to be able to make the comeback. This is where it starts, though. The pistol round, a very necessary game, but they're running right into the Cypher. As of now, It's a very much off angle that they're playing towards, right? There's not a lot of ways to get out of this position. They spot the Jet, noticing their angle, but now everyone looms overhead, finding one, barely able to get the headshot. A phenomenal work doing just that, but Int still goes in. Swing God finds the trade. Monty dies. Zoom gets a double, as now it's all up to Kyoki in a 1v3. We've seen magic before this game. It was from Zoom. This time, Zoom will be the one to end it as a triple kill looms forward, finding the 4th round, taking the pistol.
Yeah, 2 big rounds for Zoom. One with the AWP, as you've said, now on the pistol. And it's great to see that on your defense, because what we've seen on the start of the game, if you remember, in rounds 1 and 2, it was Swing God just taking over. And now that does mean that you can probably rely a lot more on that Waylay. Of course, with double duelist composition, the Waylay on defense usually is used as in the same way that, like Prime Chamber was used. You got the refract, you can go back, you can try to find for the dash. There's a lot of angles that you can take a fight on. And speaking of fights, both duelists present at middle should be very easy for Ain if they try to contest that line anyways. And they do. 1 shot missed, and that means he's actually punished. He walks out in the open and Swing God is able to find that kill. That's an outlaw that could be delivered for free. Swing God indeed. Dashes in, picks up the sniper. And that could give them a chance into that one, considering a few players are either on light shields or, just like Zoom, already pretty banged up as is and would die to a single shot.
We'll have to just kind of keep waiting in the way, because a 4v4 certainly does look good, especially as fast learners. HP, not at the highest, right? We look towards Volt, or not Volt, sorry. Wow, Zoom. Volting, zooming, same thing, I guess. I mean, I'm not really sure, but Kyoki, having this classic in hand, having a bit of a read, right? D2Z having to play a long angle. 1, 2, both fall. Chewy gets the trade. However, Mitsui, the shots go a little bit wide. Oh, that's tragedy striking him as RokaHeat down to a 2v3, but they've done the damage. The eco has been broken at least a little bit. The shotgun comes in, equals it down to a 2v2, and they convert a gun as well.
Zoom really needed to find a kill there. Now it's all in the hands of Adruz, and he spotted, but that's missed shots again, this time courtesy of Swing God. And it's Chewy against 2. Got the grab net, but as you can tell, the trap there limits his movement. Could have been presented one on a silver platter, but couldn't catch him on the jump. But as you've said, Cherry, the damage is done, and I do believe that while this looks like doom and gloom in the finisher, it might be harvest season for them in round 15.
It was a real-world possibility they take that. With the Outlaw in hand, it certainly seemed more than possible. Unfortunately, the Cypher just a little bit too tricky to hit onto. And it caused a little bit of a detriment when it came down to it, all things considered. So how they're going to be able to finish this off, that will be the question. And we'll just have to wait and see, deliberating the options that are laid out in front of them. Swing God, do you go for the op light shields?
Wow.
I'd imagine the answer should be yes, but we'll have to wait and see.
This buy sucks if you're fast learners. You're walking into this one. There is a tech pause there that is presented. I would assume that Zoom or it ain't. Most likely ain't on the Jet. It's gonna be getting the outlaw that was dropped. But that does mean that you're gonna have what, like a single rear rifle on Zoom, pistols and everyone else, the Guardian and Mitsuya. Like that's not really a buy that I would be happy walking into. I mean, it might just be a call for Zoom as well to join in the party. Maybe get a stinger, maybe get a judge. Not overinvest into this round, because most likely the kind of firepower that they have, they're not going to be the team that is going to be walking in with the upper hand. And if there is one bit of smart thing that we are actually seeing from the side of RokaHeat, is them recognizing that there will be an outlaw on the other side. And for the most part, everyone had heavy shields. Monty, of course, only able to get the regen. That's the max that they can find. But if Chewy resorted to the light, I wouldn't really be a big fan of that. You know that their economy is weak. You know that they got an outlaw. So I feel like it just feels very natural to try to pick up the heavy shields and not to make a big fuss out of that one. Because now, sure, they're not favored, but especially with an outlaw and a guardian, if you give them an edge, they'll take a mile. 2 shots to the torso is what the carbine can do. That kind of spot. And well, right now the spot is actually not that bad for Fast Learner. Like, I feel like if they win the bonus here, especially with how heavily that we're seeing RokaHeat invest into this one, suddenly like a 9-6 could transpire into a 9-7, and if they then win that second gun round, things could be very different for a half that started off completely dominant for RokaHeat. Of course, it's just the pistol and the anti-eco, but nothing is really out of their hands at the current moment in time, especially considering looking at the ultimates. Yes, Chewie's only 2 away from annihilation, but then you look at the other side. Also, Adrijox, I guess, like the Cipher. I just keep it at that. The Cipher himself is also only 2 points away from having his own neural theft. And I would say, yes, the annihilation is great in the execute itself or in a retake, but the amount of information you get from a neural theft, especially on the defense, that could be so important. The timer is on. 3 more seconds, and we'll be facing a B site rush against a Cypher that spots it early, and most likely will have to defend himself with just a mere Bucky. But in that kind of range, it can be optimal, it can be deadly, and it is, but it's only good for a single kill.
That's looking good as the game comes to almost a close. The no-scope comes in, ain't able to pull it back. Kiyoki drops them. This is the 3v1 now as Kiyoki takes a triple. Mitsuya, 1v3 situation. Let's see whether or not they can be able to make some magic with the Guardian in hand, trying to break the wall, looking to get something done. They've had moments of glimpses before. Can we get some more miracles coming out as the smoke appears? Kiyoki drops him to the ground. Double digits achieved. RokaHeat instantly cleans it up after the tech pause.
And you were talking about that. You said now we're seeing a RokaHeat that has multiple members that can actually play. They relied on the Reina a little bit, and Swing God is still doing pretty good in terms of the KD, in terms of the scoreboard, but it is great running into that playoff, running in the best of 3 to know that you got multiple players that can find impact. Impact now that they're going to try to rely upon fast learners with that meager investment in round 15, now running into round 16 with a much better armory. Not yet sure that much will be done to it. I feel like the Device nerfs, a lot of people are still using their flash in the same way. Not my choice of usage. Well, not really my choice of execution either. They made themselves sit in ducks, 2 kills for the Cypher as is. And even despite all of that, they got nothing. You got a solo with the drone with the shock darts. They could have very easily tried to utilize that bits of utility to clear off the traps, but they tried to walk in with pace, and they immediately got punished for that. Now, minute on the timer, there is a rotation by the Vice, rather, not the deadlock. Very late into the round towards the B site, which is completely open. But it all depends on whether or not the spike can also pass through.
It does seem as if a rotation will be pulled. Chewy trying to make noise, trying to get something done, but the high-low has been created, has been forced. It's a 2-player left situation, and RokaHeat having almost nothing left in the tank. Just gonna likely try and get this bomb down, if that.
30 seconds left.
I mean, it seems like the spike is just a slam dunk, right? 20 seconds on the timer, though. They're going to be very quick on the rotate. And this is where maybe they'll have a problem. Yes, they got 2 stars. Famoki's going to be the one to plant the spike down, which does mean
10 seconds left.
the flood
Spike
couldn't
planted.
be any more difficult because the Astra still got to take a little bit more time to set up. They can burst out the smoke. That's what they want to do. Trying to utilize the area, and the arrow fakes them out. It's going to be a perfect bait and switch there. As Mitsuya, who hasn't been having the best of games this time, stepping up himself. 3 kills for the Sova, a double for the Cypher as well to make it a full house for fast learners. And a pivotal 6th round on the board. Now, maybe some semblance of stability on the defense. But the real problem is those 2 ultimates that we can tell that are ready for RokaHeat.
Yeah, it's already looking good for fast learners to be able to mount a comeback as RokaHeat, their economy, not in the best situation by any means, seeming as if they are just going to be looming for another A hit. Last time certainly did not go their way. Dropped down to a 3v5 before it even started. But as fast learners starts to really make their presence known, there's a couple ultimates gathered. They could try and invest the Seal Garden. Would certainly be a nice tool to be able to collapse on in.
Yes, indeed, but they got tripped up last time. And as you can tell, not repeating the same mistakes, despite being weaker in weapons, though. It wouldn't be too fussed if they actually do invest in ultimate, but they will need to find a kill most likely. And Pamolki only a single orb away from having his own cosmic divide. That crossfire could be fatal. But they got the Yuto to break it. They got the arrow to make it easy to spam him through. But instead, the Cypher again, a double kill to Madish walks. Swing God and Kyoki, each finding the kill. That drop could have been everything, but instead, it's a big risk that did not pay off. And now they're down to the 2-on-3. They gave away the guns. The Steel Garden is there. VQZ only on a classic. Yes, it's good for a right click. But what can he do for the next 10-15 seconds? Nothing. The wall closes off spawn. And they can put all of their attention to that one sensor that is put underneath heaven. It should be a very easy round to navigate there. One angle to the cat, one shot, one opportunity from the up, and instead, it's going to be one very dead aim. It's a thrifty round for RokaHeat. They uses those two ultimates to perfection, and despite a good anchor, we're seeing a difference in how actually you execute those retakes. They're a lot slower on Fast Learner, and that allows RokaHeat to establish much more of their actual setup, and they're actually backing it off with the shots as well.
Yeah, RokaHeat, they've been dropping their opposition so consistently. The last two rounds ago, it looked rough, but that was due to the fact that they weren't really having the same team cohesion. We saw this time, however, it was VQZ who was unfortunately unable to make anything happen. And it was famously who was just completely dominating with the smokes, with the stuns. There's Ains getting the first. Cosmic Divide comes in with a complete trick. However, it's being a trick called out. There's Zoom dropping them down as RokaHeat picks up 2 deaths already. Deja vu of previous rounds comes in. UKZ, Stinger in hand, trying to get something done. They found everything. Is now famously trying to get something done. The Saturate comes in. Do they have the information? The answer seems to be yes. Taking him off a line. Spikes down. Kyoki gets 1v4 scenario. Monty, unable to make anything happen. The flank surprises him down. And it's the 7th round to be converted.
Yeah, it's a little bit messy, I gotta say, in some of those rounds. But I love that Fast Learners are actually willing to take that approach. They're willing to grind RokaHeat down. They know that if they try to play that quote-unquote beautiful brand of Valorant, maybe they'll actually not fare as well as they are now. And well, they're going to be faring in a much better way. They got the ultimates. They got the guns. Yes, there's an equal buy from the other side, but clearly there must be an idea behind 3 players here. On a main, they're gonna collide very quickly, and this can go very wrong. Yuto on one side, and I would assume it's gonna be a straight-on rush from Fast Learners.
It does seem like an instant instigation will be seen. Fast Learners trying to play aggressive. Lots of utility already expended from both sides. The Tailwind already popped, going to be utilized in its fullest. Zoom sitting mid. Lots of players starting to agitate forward. Now Zoom finds the information, gathers it. 2 players spotted, going to be using light speed out of the fray. Now it is a question of where will RokaHeat go. They know players are inputted highly up in mid. And as Swing God keeps up the pressure. Zoom's going to be walking right on in. No prediction for you. As Swing God makes B-Site the absolute dominating place for them to go towards. VQZ needing to put up an absolute masterclass performance right here, right now, as they know players behind them, in front of them, every which way, won't be able to make anything happen as Tui drops him off. Now Swing still in heaven, looking to get something done as the dart does clear it, but not for long. Kyoki as well, pushed up, everyone pushed up. Famuki with a shotgun up in here, could be really volatile, and Swing God right on the other corner. Aims to find 1, not the 2nd. Swing God with a double, now it's all up to the flank.
Yeah, and unfortunately, for Cypher there, not really going to be looking the best. He probably has to back off, considering, yes, he does have 4,300, but for the most part, with this being match point, you might unironically try to save up that cash, build up an operator for the rest of your team, knowing that there's no way that you're actually going to be winning a 1v4, and another kill to wrap it off. That would be great. If he loses his gun here, it would be demoralizing a second time. We see a player holding the line, and they're just beaten to the punch there by RokaHeat. The treacherous path that Fast Learners are walking on for ultimates should have all the tools for the most part. But it's going to be 2 questions. One of their economy and the others is actually going to be a multi-layered question. You know, you got 4 ultimates, and on the first half, we really haven't seen the best usage of those. So now, Cherry, the question can be, will they actually use it? They got the op on Ain't, but otherwise, it's a bit of a mixed bag of a bot. Yes, mostly rifles, but Azurixia is now only left with a Bucky. And sure, the Bucky isn't the worst thing in the world in the right position, but with the op not present on the B site, this might be in the coffin. They chose the right site, and they cannot stick around for too long. 2 ultimates that could be gone if they succeed in that execute.
I do kind of disagree. Zoom is a phenomenal player. We've seen them being able to consistently show everything. There's the ultis, conversion paths, as well as the Hunter's Fury. VQZ able to find one, instantly traded out. Some Astra on Astra action works in their favor. Zoom picks up one from the high ground, instantly backing off. Chewy spraying him offline. Ain't going to be able to collect one with the operator, but it's still 2v3. Dropping down the wall, looking good. RokaHeat going to have to deal with the Blade Storm now as Ain't looking to make something happen. Rotation gets pulled, able to opt out, but there's still going to be the Sova coming on through from mid as they dropped in the Owl drone, instantly getting heard. Gonna be only dissipating the smoke, not fully pulling it, but they go to the A site, still having the Sova locking down mid. Gonna be there to request something done, but no, they instantly forfeit their position in mid, looking to double up in A.
I don't know about that one. I feel like Monty really should have fished for one more frag there, trying to hold their mid rotation. Now they're gonna be pincered. Look at the Cypher again, the same shenanigans as always. Probably expected, but without a deadlock on their lines, they feel like it's going to be nearly impossible to hold all 3 of those openings. So they try to fixate on spawn, hoping that somebody's going to be there, but nobody's home. It's 2 players from Heaven. They make all the noise. They might find the kill, but a set from Oki, taking the vision of the sky. And now it's time for the Moroccan to meet the exact same fate. Astra will ruin this one, and the Cosmic Realm decides that RokaHeat is going to be successful on their map pick.
RokaHeat brings it down, shutting down the crowd as the quarterfinals keep it going. And honestly, that looked phenomenal. We saw so much domination, especially from Swing God on the Jets, pulling out the op, pulling out the Outlaw. Didn't matter. They kept it going. And that's certainly some really good work.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, from what I've looked at here, like in this game especially, you know, I'm looking at the 2 teams. I wasn't actually thinking that there might be that much out of this one, but so far, RokaHeat has been the much better team. And if you're the better team fundamentally, usually you end up being the better team on the blind. Yes, there are a lot of nooks and crannies that you can actually play into, but we haven't seen that tactical mastery on the Abyss. Maybe it's because it's not their forte. So we're going to give fast learners a chance to actually cook things on their feet. We're going to go to a very brief break here, and when we'll be back, we'll see if they can make it to the semifinals or if it's going to be a clean slate for them for the day.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're joining you for game number 2. This quarterfinal, it's been good. We got two phenomenal teams facing off once more. Obviously, after a 13-7, it does look as if there might be a little bit of an advantage RokaHeat's coming on in with, especially now it's their map pick. Fast learner, how will they take it? Now, I was doing a little bit of research, Volt, I can't lie, right before this game said, hey, RokaHeat, how did their round of 32 round of 16 go? Wow, I can't say anything.
Yeah.
And I looked at them versus Frostbite and saw, oh my gosh, it was a 13-6 on Bind. RokaHeat, what are we doing here? The firepower seems to be out of this world for this roster. So Frostbite wasn't able to do it, but they brought them to 3 maps either way. So it's clearly a talented team, but it didn't seem like Bind was their way. We'll see whether or not the current team facing off against RokaHeat, that being the Fast Learners, will have any different way of luck. But they're running that Jet, Brim, Viper, Sky Ray. So they got that double duelist, double controller going on in. When we looked towards the team of their opposition, it's a different story. They've loved the Sentinel so far. They ran a double Sentinel last game. They're doing a Sentinel into this one as well with the double controller, and we'll see how it'll work.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, from the things that I've seen at least, I think one of the most scary signs for either team, whoever is gonna win, they are going to have to face what I would just have to say, like, it's a team that would most likely, I expect, to make it to the semifinals. Now that they're in the semifinals, maybe they'll make it all the way through. Of course, on the other side of the bracket, there's still a game between Misfits, which is the game that we followed on the round of 16. There's between them and Seven Sensitive. On the other side is Elite Clan and VR2. On our side of the bracket, as I was trying to say, is Samogeni that was actually able to win in their quarterfinal bout. So they're the team that is going to be very scary to walk into, of course. But right now, Monty's the scariest man on the server. Oh my goodness gracious me. He's deleted each and every single defender. They might be fast on the learning, but apparently their ability to be the quick draw is not really going to be present there. The spike planted, and the ace might be there. The timing not in the favor of Monty, but thankfully for Monty, now he's alerted that he's at heaven. All he needs to do is just deliver one more shot, courtesy of that sheriff. A town must have a ruler, and it will be RokaHeat anyways. That quad kill for Monty, that's the highlight reel for sure.
What on earth are we watching? 3 players come down showers, takes them all down, then the TP gets released. Says, all right, we can add more pressure to it. And Monty does not care whatsoever. Absolute absurdity. In no
disgusting.
reality do you get that done.
Yeah, that was
But-
disgusting. Let's be real. That was
Yeah,
disgusting. to
yeah,
deliver.
that's the highlight of this. That's the highlight of this entire day. Not even just the series. That's the highlight of this tournament, actually. You know what? I'm changing my mind. Yeah. Now we do see Monty with a Vandal in hand, full shields as well. So likely going to be a big playmaker for this round. And already we see the relay Bolt unfortunately missing out, but Swing God won't care. Still, this Bulldog gets the kill, dropping the Viper to their knees, taking this site for free. But look at the flank available. Kiyoki has the understanding. How much can they get? 1, 2, 3 not found, but they get the damage done. Monty coming in from the flank, deals the damage, hits the punchline, and RokaHeat is on for the game. Oh, never mind. Look at that shot.
Well, speaking of punching the line, that one punched the head. Might find a second there. Luckily enough, Swing God is able to evade the first line of firing. Goes wide easily. Delivers on the second shot to the head. Could have been a lot uglier. Thankfully enough, they did avoid losing more than 2 players, and one of them only had a ghost, so it's not really the end of the world for RokaHeat anyways. But it is looking like it might not be an easy one. I am not a fan of this Viper wall myself. I understand why a lot of teams do it, but it does mean that you are signifying for the most part that this is what you're going to do. The setup that you can tell, the 2-2, with the 2 players being on B, 2 players being on showers. And right now, the Sky getting the information that you wouldn't actually get if you were playing a Vice instead. So the setup is good, but the problem is it was almost broken by Swing God. Now they got the numbers to try to corral on it, and they will be able to do that. Chewy with one, Monty with the other, but the Viper is gone, and Kiyoki, he's going to be able to trade quickly. 1 player ascending up to heaven, the other one still working his way through, and 3 players to be found. 1 very close up and personal, and the judge deems them guilty, but Doom is found by Zoom. As he speeds his way through to that retake, 3 players immediately found back to back to back. And for the first time, Fast Learners seems to be equally shooting back.
I don't know about for the first time. We saw them shooting back a little bit at the start of Abyss.
That's,
but
yeah,
this is-
exactly. Sometimes we're seeing sparkles. This time, we're seeing them fight each and every round. Sure, the pistol was the exception. And as we said, like, that was a great highlight play, but I'm expecting a much closer game if it's actually going to go this way.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether or not I would say it's going to be closer. I think that the attacking side is certainly going to be excessively difficult for RokaHeat, right? They're running a double controller with a Sentinel. Definitely a rough time, especially in a map like Bind, which, in my opinion, very defensive-sided. Attacking B-side can get very difficult if you don't have a real way to instigate a aggressive stance over towards Hookah. So now Zoom, having the Tailwind activated, looking to find the first, having it relinquished, instantaneously conceding the space. The Prowler comes out, instantly destroys. Sky Smokes come down. But we do see Monty on the opposite side, giving the option to go for the rotate. It seems as if that's been called out, as both the Jet and Brimstone from the Fast Learners are going to opt over there. But Monty, having different plans in mind, goes out of the way, instead going over. Spy cam comes out, instantly destroyed, giving away the fact a shotgun does happen to be in hookah. That'll give Kiyoki the realization, I need somebody else. I don't have any real utility to be able to clear this, so it's not something I want to go for. As 3 players looming over towards B, this could start to be a little bit aggressive. Now on the opposite side, there's 3 players just really not getting any space over towards A, and that's kind of an issue, right? The blinding light we did see on the minimap is going to be able to clear out, but as everyone starts the rotation, it's going to look good for Fast Learners.
Yeah, I mean, it should look good, but they need to actually get the job done. But the problem is Swing got, I mean, a bit too much to handle. VQZ halted by the snake bite, and right now seems like they're tasting the venom. 2 players gone. He has a few low on HP, but that crossfire is demoralizing, and it's gonna eat up those 2 players on the other end. Now back to equal numbers, but the shot's great from Kiyoki, and he adjusts on the second. His kill galore, multi-kills almost for everyone in this game. Swingot needs to find a second if he's going to actually make that the case. But it does seem more likely that Kiyoki's going to be able to find another one. Spotted that player, Zoom, looking for that duel, but all he makes it is very easy for Kiyoki. It's another quad kill already, 2 of them, in only the span of 4 rounds.
Yeah, RokaHeat just dropping them down as we saw the ADSing coming through, and it looked really nice. It looked very, very proficient. RokaHeat, they seem to have a good understanding of how they want to pick up this game, as they have 2 ultimates online. Both going to be really nice if they can get onto the site, right? The Viper's Pit, especially towards A, can become extremely volatile once you get that spike down, forcing Fast Learners to take those close-range gunfights, which honestly they might appreciate. We do see the economy not super, super good for them, as they have a couple sheriffs in hand. But as we do see a bit of an aggressive stance once more over towards Showers, we'll see how this does pick up.
Oh, that's a great pickup from Ains, but doesn't get the job done. Mitsuya goes down to that point and that much, and you're only leaving a Brimstone who, the molly, too little too late for the case. And instead, it's actually Zoom. The sheriffs are the ones delivering the fight. The Stinger brought one too. There is a gun to be had, but it's only a Stinger, so they try to solve to the sheriff. Doesn't aid their case for that much. Zoom, last time around, caught with a util in hand. This time around, caught with the blades in hand. And apparently the lead beats the metal, and RokaHeat are steeling themselves against the Fast Learners, and we are starting to see some shades of that abyss that we've had. Good rounds for Fast Learners, sure, but their economy crumbled, and now we're going to be asking the exact same question that we've asked on the abyss. They got ultimates. Can they find value? It should be a much simpler answer on a bind, but it's the devil is in the details. It's all about the execution. RokaHeat knows. And they got 2 round changers in their orbital strike and in a showstopper. But well, the real showstopper should be that off there on Garden, and it delivers straight to the point. Zoom with the opener, and there's no more Swing God in this round.
Finding the first is one thing, a good first blood to say the least, but being able to leverage this, finding success, that's a whole different story. Not having your duelist anymore definitely is a big punch to the gut. There is still the opportunity to be able to find a lurk, right? We do see the Viper on the side of RokaHeat. They've been consistent. They've been good. But will they be able to make it happen? Zoom once more. Showcasing dominance as they continually put it forward. Monty is able to pick up 1, but that's about all they're going to get. It's a 2v4, and it's not looking good. RokaHeat, no spike in sight. Ain't going to be playing very aggressive. This is the opportunity. If you can capitalize on Ain's positioning here, that could be what will skyrocket you. But unfortunately, a little bit too lackluster on the search. And now Fast Learner will be able to just completely crunch.
Okay, take a break, guys.
And crunch it is. That's what we're getting here. Second round. And hopefully some hope with that one. A lot of ultimates, though, for RokaHeat, so that is going to be the name of the game for them. Of course, night might fall, but right now it's looking plenty bright for the Fast Learners, and they're trying to be quick on the uptake. Might not be the best course of action, because as you can tell, RokaHeat got a util dump for that. Ain't might need to use his satchel defensively. He takes a line that is still caught, and he cannot find a kill. Could not stand and deliver, but the orbital strike can find a massive amount of value. It stunts that execute, stops them from proceeding any further, and despite them using the second prowler, it's another crossfire here. They'll have to break one way or the other. Chewy forced off, and that's the initial part of the execute gone. No overdrive, still got the pit, still got their own orbital strike and a neural theft, but they will need to break through the initial line. And that they're trying to do here, but they all walked into the DP. It's an excellent bait and switch, and they know exactly where the Viper is, so it's an easy answer for Kyoki to find that kill. Information, pit as well. They try to make their way through elbow, but it's going to be very easy
Spike planted.
for Moki to just hold the line from there.
Yeah, it's not looking good by any means if you're on the side of Fast Learner, but 3 ultimates, 4 ultimates invested into the round. Certainly not the end of the world. The Blinding Light's going to be able to connect onto a bunch of players as Kyoki falls first. Good stuff coming in from BQZ. As now Monty drops one, looking for the second. Zoom's able to close it out, but it's still Zoom going a little bit wide with the shots. Not able to connect, and that'll give it over. RokaHeat keeps their aggression alive as they look to snowball even further.
Yeah, he had another chance that we've seen here. And I gotta say, it looked a lot better than I thought it would be. A retake with an operator usually doesn't end well. But this time, they're able to do good work, but that good work doesn't mean that they wouldn't actually be facing a toll. Lots of light shields. 3 vandals only. And the surround that could risk them breaking their economy, most likely. Given RokaHeat their 7th, if they end up losing this time around, RokaHeat starts off with their B-side at default. Not really shy about making noise, but the off angle there from Zoom, that is going to be the real problem. But the lightning gun fears no one, and they got the side for themselves. It's an easy plant, and most likely a retake that will rely on the presence of the Brim there in Hookah. He still has not been cleared, and they can try to use the value out of that one. I speak of that, and the Castle Curse immediately lands as Monty is able to find an initial bout, and the Molotov probably denies any attempt to retake. They got 3 alive, and it wouldn't be that surprised. They actually just keep the 2 vandals away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah, at a certain point, you gotta imagine RokaHeat's gonna have to just back off. You don't want to count your eggs before they hatch, and if you walk into spawn, that shotgun will likely dismantle you.
Well, might be there. A peek, an angle, and a kill. That's another vandal to be picked up, and I wouldn't be that surprised that that is going to be the call here. Nobody found. No one's home. 3 vandals saved. Not really the worst case scenario for fast learners, but they cannot keep bleeding rounds like these. They will need to eventually contend for a victory. Like, taking the small losses, it should be a part of a bigger plan, and I do hope that I actually see a real plan. Because right now, they're just swinging with emotions. If they don't get an opener, they do feel very lackluster.
Looks like it disconnected. Come out, unfortunately. See how long that is going to take to get all settled and done.
Hey man, couldn't be an EU game without a DC. Couldn't be an EU game.
Very true. Very true. That's really unfortunate, though. I mean, I'm not sure how, like, contestable this game. I don't know if they're like lagging or what, but it feels like this game wouldn't be that much closer even if they didn't have that lag issue. As it does seem as if RokaHeat is just kind of objectively having a lot better ideas. And then also just the firepower from Monty. Very difficult to stop, right? We see them at 11-7 right now. Kyoki as well, 10-4. Both have been on absolute tears, right? Swing God having a little bit of a calmer performance comparatively to what we saw last game, but it definitely does go to show. Okay, well, the Brimstone has reconnected by the looks of it, but now there's Mitsu, who's having a bit of problems in their own right. So we'll see whether or not they're going to be able to stick this around or whether or not we will have a bit of an issue. But as of now, it does seem like we may perhaps be good.
Yeah, you know, and it does actually leave us a bit of time to continue talking about the bracket for a little bit, because I believe that the players might be ready. We got our second semi-finalist prepared. Samuel Jenny, of course, on our upper side of the bracket. They'll be facing the winner of this one. And now, the winner of the 1-1 game. It is 1-1 right now in that best of 3 between Elite Clan and VR2. They'll be going out against Mercifits, and they will be hoping to see if there's much to see for this one. As it currently does stand, though, the timer is ticking. 6 rounds it is for RokaHeat. And I am pretty much expecting another one of those plays. A Prowler early on, but this time, the Sky Util should be the answer. They got 2 kills, but it's answered in spade and ain't at least give this one a fighting chance, and a pristine shot there from Mitsuya.
Found one.
That might be it. Fastliners took the initiative this time, and they might be rewarded for it.
Yeah, as soon as they come back from the tech timeout, they bring it forward. And it's already a third round going their way. RokaHeat, how are they going to respond? There's 3 rounds left in the half, no ultimates available. They got to be able to break open a site. They've been very good, very proficient, but when it comes to showers, I think at a certain point, they got to stop opting in for it, right? You know that your opposition loves to play aggressive there. They've been consistently throwing 2 players down there with the Viper wall. That repetition hasn't been canceled. And they're going to look to do that again.
Yeah, right now though, doesn't really mean that they've just won the defensive side. Still some funds, but RokaHeat will go to broke if they're not able to find their victory here. And much like before, showers, unless there is some proactivity, has become a problem. This time around, they bypassed the initial line, but a Viper found an initial kill. Showstopper on the next, and Swing God and Monty both out for good. And the Blades are going to be able to deliver one more. This is much better looking for fast learners. A round that we expected to eventually see as they grab the helm. They fight for this game. And only 2 players remaining. They're able to find those 2. Suddenly, this game is a lot closer. Something that we have not seen in Abyss. That was the round that fast learners lost, and it ended up in them costing their half into a 9-3. This time, it looks so much better. And, well, we've seen big plays all series long, but I don't think that Pamoki got it in him for an ace with just a single pump. That's all he got. And not even a single shot to be delivered. Aimed immediately. Heads off with the execution. And now we're only 2 rounds apart. And the economy, not going to fare too well.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. RokaHeat, they've been able to make something happen before, right? They've been able to find thrifties, find eco rounds. It's something that we shouldn't be too surprised at, but when fast learners playing as well as they are, it is going to be difficult, right? They found that first blood very simply, then they dropped in the Showstopper to really put the nail in the coffin, as well as that the Blade Storm both came out. They knew this was a necessary round to invest into, and it worked really well for them. Now we're going to be seeing the Viper's Pit already online if they want to try and opt in for that. But the Binding Light going to be showing some signs over towards the B site. The Prowler unable to connect onto Zoom, but the Binding Light will be followed up with by this Jet on the tailwind. Zoom, a phenomenal player who's been on an absolute tear. Right now, it's a Chewy who gets it done.
All right, now getting it done might be the title, but I don't know about that one for Swing God. Like, they needed to immediately peek the smoke as well. The timing was off, and Zoom able to capitalize. Now out in the middle of the open, wasting so much time. Very smart, not even take the shots. Don't give him the tracers. It's going to make it very easy for the rest of the team to get the follow-up. Yes, the numbers are even, but they're unable to grab hold of the guns for now. And BQZ needed to land the shots on the second time of asking. He'll actually get the job done. Zoom with 1 more, leaving it in a 1-on-2. This one, Pamoki might be much more likely to find though.
Yeah, will you have the intuition? Answer is no. Fast learners, 1 round away from tying up the series, 5-6 being the scoreline, and RokaHeat having a bit of a difficult time.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is still to be expected. Not that I really was actually thinking that much would be different. Even if they were able to find a success on the other side. But right now, the one primary thing that I'm looking at is that Viper Spit. We've seen it actually being tempted to be used early on. And I'm surprised that they didn't use it off the bat. Now they might use it on showers, because otherwise they lose the entirety of the angle. Swing God looks to his back. The Snakebite comes in, and Ain't finds the first kill there in showers. No more Monty. And the Shorty could not get the job done. That is a questionable decision. I've ever seen one. But thankfully, Fast Learners able to get the recovery, not for too long. Kyoki not only finds the kill, that is the information that they get. 3 players, 2 push back side, and the 3rd quickly join. Oh, Kyoki, you could have been patient. You could have allowed the rest of your team to have something to play for. Now it's the 1-on-3 for Chewy. Yes, he's got the Molotov, but immediately Zoom. He's got plenty of those one taps apparently stashed over. And thankfully, they're able to use them in the right time. 6-6 is going to be the score this time, Cherry. And I got to say, much better looking. Yes, still a little bit more questionable choices from both ends this time, actually. And that might be where we see RokaHeat struggle a little bit more. When things get chaotic, I feel like they have the tendency to just run the motions and not stick to their strategy.
Yeah, 6-6, RokaHeat completely faltering after having such a strong half. I think they were up like 6-2, and then just fell down. Can't be letting this happen. It seems as if we have another tech pause happening right about now. Tragic, to say the least. We will see how long that will take, how these two teams are going to be able to adopt strategies coming into a tech timeout once more. But yeah, it's definitely not looking great for RokaHeat. Fast learner. As they did lose map 1, now they go into their opponent's map pick. We'll see what they are going to be able to end up making, right? They don't have a lot of utility to be able to destroy tripwires, which is a bit of an issue. They have the paint shells. That's about it, though, right? So you're looking for something like that fade with the prowlers that really can be nice, but unfortunately, you'd have to use your trailblazer in order to get a similar situation when your initiators are trying to go for it. Obviously, a lot of mollies, so your post plans can look nice if it's the incinerary, if it's the snake bite, lots of options. But honestly, RokaHeat, I'm just looking to see what they're going to have, right? I'd imagine that they should be able to play this well on the defense, but we are just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and this is where things could actually get intriguing. Again, because Fast Learners got the double duelist on attack. That could bring a lot more value, but in the same time, I would say it is probably going to be a much easier defense on the other side as well. You got the Cypher, you got the Fade. Like, comparing the initiators, surely there's a lot more stopping power that Famoki can bring, even if he's only 4-8 on the scoreboard. Still going to be pretty impactful. And Monty, who's already 12 and 11 when he was playing on the attack, sure, he was lurking a little bit more, but you'd expect in his required job as an anchor on defense, he's still going to excel. So there are some good points for either of the two teams. For Fast Learners, of course, the highlights that be both of those duelists 13 and 8. And if that 1-2 punch gets going, well, all I don't know, all hats might be off, all gloves might be off. Like, it's gonna be a fist fight for sure in the second half.
Yeah, it's going to look rough. We'll have to wait and see whether or not he will be able to put up the same level of performance on this pistol as we saw from them on the opener. As the 4K coming into showers was phenomenal from them. But as we just continue waiting, I mean, there's a lot of options, right? There's a lot of things that could go awry. But I don't know. I think that Rocky definitely has the opportunity to be able to steal this one away if they can. The setup does look good from them. They're going for the same setup as what Fast Learners was going for, with the Viper's wall going down towards the A site from the B teleporter. Along with that, we do see kind of just them sitting in hookah, which I don't know if it's going to be their permanent position. You would imagine not, as playing in front of your setup, which traditionally is not a very good idea. Obviously, there are some Sentinel players within the VCT that did opt into that kind of ideology a little bit. But unfortunately, it's not traditionally the best option. We do see the tech timeout finally getting unpaused, so we are going to be able to get into the game sooner rather than later. Obviously, 8, Zoom, both on the duelist, both looking phenomenal so far within this matchup. 13 kills, 8 assists, or 8 tests for both of them, and putting up a couple assists. Definitely looking good. VQZ as well with 7 assists. Definitely a playmaker who we should be looking out for on the second half. We'll have to wait and see what they can find on the A site. Completely leaving A main alone. Instead,
I'm going to push against the agenda. I'm just going to say this. Smoke assists are a scam. That's all I'm going to say. They are absolutely a scam. Right now, though, Chewy trying to take a bite off. Maybe more than he could chew. Unfortunately for him in the name, he is going to go down eventually. And only Swing God actually found anything. 2 on 4 in the end. The Sky healing pumps them up back to nearly full HP, and they might not even need all that excess because only Swing God now it will need it to be an ace clutch, and he does find a shot to the head and even a second one. Mitsuya eventually quickly traced that one back, and it is Fast Learners for the first time in this entire series in the lead.
RokaHeat. They are bringing the firepower, but unfortunately the pistol round will be a different story. Fast learners able to pull this one back out from nowhere. A phenomenal working around. The 3-2 setup once more, holding the Cypher over towards the B site. Investing slightly heavily with the Sheriff being bought out for Monty. How they're going to approach this. Zoom on the other side, Marshall in hand. Going to try and get something done. Monty, found out by the boom bot. Gonna look to change audio cues, showcasing an ideology that maybe they're free for hookah. But no, there's 2 players now sitting there, ready in the wake. It's now RokaHeat, looking to stack up, looking to find this kill onto Ain't, who gives audio cues. And now is the paint shell is going to be able to force Kyoki out. Will they try and scale upwards? The answer is going to be no. Instead, it's A to be the end all. Mitsuya down, leaving Swing God alone in this corner. But they keep giving off audio cues by the looks of it. But look at this rotation. Everyone coming in close. Fast learner gonna be shut down for the first. Getting the trade, but how much can they ask for? 1, not the second by the looks of it. Yep, there it goes. But Chewy takes the TP, the second TP. Mitsuya ends the bleeding, showcases dominaces as a fast learner brings it to an 8th.
Beauty of around there. Mitsuya, who was having a very quiet abyss, now having a great performance on the bind. They're gonna need more where that came from. Roka should be on the full buy now. And for the most part, the one thing that is gonna go very well for fast learners, I believe, that they're cycling their ultimates quickly on this attacking side. And I love that Sheriff plus Marshall peaked on that bonus round, because it should be enough to kill 1 player if somebody's over aggressing, but not going to be the case here. Viper defensive on this part of hookah. No one really trying to contest long from what it seems. Kyoki happy to just stay in his safe place, in his good old box. And eventually, they're going to have to go up something. Either they do commit to the backside position or they commit to hookah. Right now, they're caught between 2 mines. They even got a 3rd player to support, but it might be difficult for the players on the A site now. TPs at long, that could be a choice that they try to take, but instead they try to face Kyoki face on. And all it needs to is just doom and gloom. Mitsuya is unaccounted for, though. That could be the real difference maker. BQZ, spotting the 1, needs to find the head. Out of bullets on the stinger, goes to the classic. That's messy, but it still gets the job done for 1. Now it's a 2-on-4. Maybe they're able to capitalize some space, go back to the A side. It could be a different game, but right now, it does seem like those Guardians not gonna really have the best of times, having trouble adjusting to Fumoki. And they know where the last man is, and it's gonna be an easy spam. 2 players gone through the smokes, 3 players all demoralized. It's a complete shutdown, the first of which on this second half for RokaHeat.
Yeah, RokaHeat, they're pulling it through, as an 8th round could mean equalization. And fast learners, nothing too big coming up, right? They're not about to hit double digits, not really too close to anything that could spell out disaster for the mentality of the RokaHeat roster. We do see the Viper's wall coming on through, looking like they want to go for another hit towards the showers. And as the blinding light will be able to make contact, spotting out Zoom, first one up, instigating the engagements, facilitating the rest of the team to be able to file on behind. The blinding light conceding more space. There's the Viper shutting down Chewy. And now as Chewy falls, the smoke's dissipating. No more opportunity. Swing got hit by the ball of the shells. It's a 3v5. RokaHeat needing to be able to make the comeback, needing a miracle. How much more can they ask for? It sure is nothing. Through the smoke, you get destroyed. Swing got taken offline. Is now Kyoki through the TP, looking to make something happen, looking to create a miracle for the rest of the team to rally behind. But as there's somebody close, there's the instigation, there's the death. Zoom, low HP, the molly shutting down Zoom, as it's now a 2v3, investing the ultis, looking to get something done. Everyone revealed as the Seekers do come out, looking to make sure something happens. Monty finding the first equalization found. BQZ looking to put the nail in the coffin. The incinerary exists, the time not there, needing to get on the spike, needing to do something, but it will be VQZ taking the 9th for the fast learner.
And finally, they bear some fangs in this BO3. Taking them quite a while to bring the heat to Roka. But right now, apparently a bigger fire is swallowing Roka's as far as it is. The current state of this affair. 2 rounds of the difference. But the economy, that is the real factor. Fast learners are in a much better term. And ultimates as well is going to be another intriguing point right now. Double digits might be very likely. Last time around, Swingot was caught on the bench. This time around, it might have to be a heater. No two ways about it. They're looking for an explosive contact, and the flash disables the Neon for now. But that relay bolt is very effective. The Odin close for a connection, but cannot find a single kill. Now they have to back it off. It's Viper on Viper action on the B side, but doesn't net that much. All it does, though, is guaranteed a space they're going to be rotating into, but it's quickly read by RokaHeat, who's got numbers now on that B side, and I would not be surprised if they might call it back to the A side if Ain't is able to find something right now. It's a ton of space generated, and they must also know a Cypher is around these parts, so all the commitment that they have to Hookah, it could go to naught. They are not able to hold the angle, but Chewy is able to hold his, and this guarantees it has to be on B.
Yeah, the B site instantly executed upon, but it's going to be dismantled. Monty for a double. There's Swing God coming in. Monty gets 3, closes the round. As that'll do it. RokaHeat keeping it competitive, keeping this game alive.
Anyone have funds to spare?
Another great round there from the two teams, but this time around, fast learners maybe try to slow down the pace a bit. And that allowed RokaHeat to actually get the better of them. And it comes down to the thing that I talked about earlier about on the Abyss, and even now on the Bind. You know, I said that in the midst of the chaos, that's where fast learners probably would have the best chance in this game. They tried to be a little bit more organized, and I feel like it didn't work out too well for them. Right now, it's a 2-man play. Odin turning around, information by the Hunt, not giving them too much. And I wouldn't really want Swingot to actually take any peeks here. I feel like it's unnecessary. And if anything, he might be getting caught on the other side. The Seas finds one. He swings wide. And 3 players. It's an absolute massacre on the Showers as they wash the blood off. And they might as well wash fast learners off this round 18.
Oh, another peek coming into Showers, thinking you have the chance. Swing God, gonna possibly hear it. No, they don't, but they swing anyway, and they lose their life for it. Won't matter. The Viper drops in return. RokaHeat now, one more player needed to find equalization here in map 2. They're on series point, and they want to close it out here and now. RokaHeat take the equalizer.
Well, you asked for a miracle. I guess they delivered in their own way. I was about to say a few rounds ago that maybe the miracle is actually in the hands of Fast Learner. Right now, it's their own destiny. Standing at the gates. They got their orbital strike. They got the showstopper. Yes. 2 ways to play it. If we're playing ranked, I would just say play it on the A side. Get your goodies. Get your side control. They're gonna be scared away by the orbital strike. But right now, the B side is a smarter call. You can definitely poke and prod. They know that the Viper. Well, Monty has been having a field day on that part of the map. If they're able to take a multi-man peak, it's a very different field. All about the timing. And that's the Viper gone. That's their chance to flood on the side itself. Orbital strike might be ready, but it actually pulls on the overdrive from the other end. The showstopper used to no avail, but it's going to be Mitsuya to take down Swingot. And now 3 on 4. Numbers aren't the worst, but there's still a chance for Fast Learner to try to sneak their way back and maybe rotate back into that bar in A site.
Yeah, it seems like the rotation is going to be forced by the looks of it. Everyone going out, but Kyoki falls. Trade comes in, Ant down. 2v3 situation, not going to be looking good. A does seem to be the pivot. And RokaHeat, having everyone still just sitting in spawn, deliberating options, looking to play the retake either which way. But with the orbital strike online, that's not going to be the ideal. You need to be able to get onto this fast. No flank possible, which means you're both going to be duoed up. Not the worst situation, but it's easily not the best. One wrong move, one wrong check means you're doomed. This Viper sitting on top, finding first, looking for the second. They get spotted. Noticing this location, 1v3, not the easiest by any mean. We saw it earlier today on Abyss. But at this point, Himoki going to concede it. looking to save the Odin alive. Now Fast Learner just going to be able to play the time, figuring out that this is probably a save. They're all going to look to run for the hills.
Yeah, and I gotta say, there's a great saying that says that pride cometh right before the fall, and I feel like not having pride there from RokaHeat, knowing when to call their losses, is a good tendency to have. But the problem is the losses have come at the 11th hour. It's 10 rounds in for Fast Learner, their first 2 double digits. And now we got 2 ultimates on either side. We have seen that Fast Learner did not really want to pull the trigger on the instant Viper split. So we're going to see if that's going to be the case here. Monty, of course, dying very early in the round prior. That was the difference maker. And if it happens again, there will be all kinds of problems. Blades are out for Fast Learner. And Kyoki and Monty will have so much work ahead of them. I don't like that angle. It's the one and done. He might be getting caught on the other side. Lucky to avoid the blades. And a stroke of fortune that will actually be for Fast Learner. It's the opener. Swing God is gone. And with 4 player stores long, they can very easily pivot back if they want to, but they try to walk into Monty, who will deliver all the headshots there. 3 from the Viper, and the strike is orbital. And they're closing in. It might actually be a crash course for the final players. 5 players still, another 2-on-3 this time. It's Fast Learners with a number disadvantage, not the advantage.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation to say the least. The Fast Learners, all they got to do, find RokaHeat. All they got to do is find this non-antsy position, right? You just got to keep your angles tight, because even if they go to the A site, you don't need to rotate. You have this fade here, and they're going to hear the audio cues, one would imagine. They're going to say, yep, we're going to have to get over there. But maybe if they stay silent, maybe if they keep quiet, that won't be a possibility. We'll have to wait and see. They're going to hear that audio cue, though. Yep, you can see it in the wake as the Viper's pit goes down. Femoki needing to be able to haunt this plant, closing it out, finding the first. But the Viper's still alive. The pit's still alive. Just need to play the retake. A miracle needed. We saw really rough situations approaching. They know Viper's pit must be clear until that connects. They get the connection. They know where they are. Can they finish it out? First gets found. Looking for more. Won't find it. Equalization stays. This game, how competitive can they get?
It wasn't that competitive in the Abyss, I can tell you that for sure. But now, they're very different ballpark. And I guess there is really some significance in Femoki, the player that in the last round decided to save, being the one to deliver the most important killing blow. And it turns, I guess, tabling in that round. Last time around, Monty was gone very early. This time around, he was the main man, shutting down the entirety of the B execute. But if there's one thing that we have seen that is actually not really happening for now, Swing God is really having an off game. And luckily enough, the rest of the team got his back for it. But it's more of a real default here for the attacking side. The defense is trying to posture, but no real map control, no real contest. I'm not a big fan of this. I feel like if you're playing defense on a bind, you need to have a stronger side and a weaker side. And the stronger side needs to get the ball rolling. They are very passive, very reserved, and it is allowing Fast Learner to eventually scale closer and closer. To this point, they're already in hookah, and they could have actually just pulled the trigger and they execute immediately. They did not realize that it was the weaker side. It's a stroke of fortune there for RokaHeat. And now they'll be tested again on the side that they were traditionally weaker on. Now, they're trying to set themselves up to try to deny anything coming out of the other side. The cabbages are in, but Swing God this time around, he is the one that will find them all, that will rule them all, that will shut each and every single member of that ace side you go, fishing for the ace, and it ain't gonna be anything to stop him. This man is a machine.
Swing God, a absolute force of nature, cannot be underestimated by any means. They've been consistently putting up numbers and an 8 to bring them the lead. After so long they've been playing catch up, now it's Fast Learner's time. As the ball gets moving, it's in their court. as RokaHeat takes them to the absolute brink. 11-10. 1 round away from match point, 2 rounds away from the semifinals.
What a round. I was just about to say, Swing God has been having a quiet one. But what a way to announce yourself still as an inevitable force. He is undeniable in this comp, in this game. Right now, the lamps, all they have. It's called a U-Haul, and it might be a U-turn for RokaHeat in this one. Allowing the spike to go down. Not much contest. If anything, they try to go for it, and they get immediately punished on the other end. And now from Oki, there's a lot of space he's trying to cover. That should have been a freebie. A little bit messy, but thankfully for Swing God, still, he's able to find something behind it. But now they'll need to clear the area that they've been dreading to clear for the longest. One player inside the smoke. It's Monty to clear him off. 2 more in lamps. And they know that they're going to be on that angle, but they cannot find Mitsuya. They cannot find anyone else. They're trying to hope that it's not a big stack. And right now, the stack does not work in their favor. Mitsuya with another multi-kill. Buying the time for the player on the truck. The backstab comes in. And they're not going to be able to stand that fall. As close as this game is going, it is going to be even closer. From an ace from the duelist, now Mitsuya once again steps up to the platter and delivers another quad kill.
It's all up to RokaHeat right here, right now. Can they finish strong where the rest of the team has been able to put up everything? We've been seeing so much from the Swing God. And all they got to do right now is just finish it right here. Can they get it done? Or will Fast Learner, despite this map 1 being so one-sided, RokaHeat has been taken to the absolute ringer.
Wow, my eyes are down.
Well, I mean, after being taken to the ringer, that's where you show your real metal. And we'll see Monty before a force on this side, this time trying to take the time, and both anchors getting their job done. It's Kyoki's time to shine, but he takes the time, he takes off his hat. And all it does is give the Adios the ticket into that side itself. Yes, they're down in numbers, but they got the angles. Neural theft comes down anyway. VQZ off the side itself, allowing the overdrive to capture the space, and they can try to go for a tap. They can try to perhaps fish them out. It's a very deep angle there by the Brimstone, and that relay bolt is going to be so valuable. They can try to hold it down. No one on the right side. It's all on the left. But that Molotov is going to buy all the time in the world. Swing God knows he needs to find those kills, but he cannot find a shot to save his life. The AWP is posted on the line, and they might line up for it, but instead, they go swinging. Moki finds them both from the back end, and that will be match point. RokaHeat still wanting to end that one in regulation.
How on earth they missed the upshot in the Guardian? Oh my lord, Famoki, you can't be getting away with this. You tap the bomb, and you still end up pulling everything out of a hat. It's magic. And I didn't realize we were in Disney, but it clearly seems as if RokaHeat has this Mickey Mouse storyline coming to an end, as they have been absolutely pulling forth everything. You should not be allowed to get away with that. You should not be allowed to finish it like that. But oh man, Fast Learner up to a hit. Can they end it?
All right, now it's either end or be ended. Either end this regulation and push it to OT, or this is the end of their journey. The road to the qualifier of the kickoff of the BCO. Still one more qualifier after this. A couple of tough teams that made it through Premier. This is their last chance to have a chance in this earlier stage of 2026. And it's off to a great start from Fast Learner. That's the usual combo that we wanted to see. The orbital strike and the nades. Finding the valley early. One player up, and instead it's the rotation from the other end. Chewy to take a head off immediately. And we'll see if they're able to close it off or not. 50 seconds on the timer. I'm not a fan of this from Pomoki, and he's going to be punished. Now you need everything from the operator. Shorty on Shorty, and Zoom reigns supreme. The shotgun puts their stamp of authority. And while Monty got his own pit, the Viper slithering in that ace light. I feel like that even when they pivot, it might not be enough. It's 2 anchors against the world. and his post plant feels like it is doomed to fail.
Well, there's the first Monty able to collect Shorty in hand. Gonna be able to spot it out. Getting the kill.
No.
He drops it. Ain't pulls out the rocket.
No.
But Monty out of the smoke! You can't keep getting away with this. No utility. Needing to finish it. Finds the stop.
Just
Looking to spray, but the operator closes it out. RokaHeat, your semifinalists, go to the semifinals off of a 13-6 and barely completes it. A 13-11 victory. Fast learners drop down in the quarterfinals. Oh my lord. Volt, what did we just watch?
absolute goddamn cinema. That is what we've watched. It's a game that has had tons of highlights, some lowlights as well, to be fair, but what a map. What an absolute banger, man. That is going to go down as a classic. Honestly, the level of the competition is stepping up significantly. Yes, some big mistakes, I got to say. But thankfully, at least for RokaHeat, this is enough for them to get through. They got one more day, 24 more hours, where they can probably rest their bones. I mean, a little bit less than 24, to be honest. But, you know, sometimes to try to rest, to re-strategize, Bind has been looking a little bit shaky, though, on this one. And you said it yourself, like they were pushed to all 3 maps on their round of 16 games. So maybe some signs of struggle. And of course, that does mean that we actually have at least 3 of our 4 semifinalists. I'm just looking at the other monitor here. I'm going to make sure that we got all 4. We got 3 logged in indeed. RokaHeat for 1, Samogeny for the other. That's 1 semifinal we're going to have tomorrow. Misfits is actually the one that got their spot. Of course, that's a team that we followed from round of 16, able to win 2-0 against 7 Sensitive. And the final game of this quarterfinal is Elite Clan against VR2. Still going on, still 1-1. Apparently, that one is going to go on for a little bit while longer. But just going back to this match that we've had here today, what an absolute monstrosity. And coming out of that abyss, you would not expect Kyoki and Monty to be on top of the scoreboard.
Yeah, that was that's been the most fun Valorant cast I've had in a hot minute, Volt. Look at that. VQZ put up an 18-7 performance, 19-15 from Mitsuya. Honestly, everyone on this team played phenomenally. The fact they lost really just came down to the phenomenal strats. Swing God, a crazy player. Monty, however, I didn't even realize, we didn't see the scoreboard too much, but Monty put up 26-19, a crazy performance. They were consistent throughout that whole thing, putting up double, triple kills through it all. And even at the end, through the smoke, they neutralized the rocket launcher. And it's just so good. Like, this team is just absurd. But yeah, we'll see whether or not they can do it more in the semifinals. Volt, that I believe is it from us. So before we head out, thank you all so much for staying tuned. Thank you to our amazing producer, Cesarius, and thank you to our amazing, phenomenal observer, Formless. Those 2 were behind the scenes pushing buttons all day long today and yesterday. Thank you to Volt. Thank you to our other caster, Matt Dante. Make sure to follow them both on Twitter. They're the coolest people you will ever meet, ever. So that is going to do it here for us. Thank you all so much for staying tuned. Peace out. See you possibly tomorrow. Who knows? And we'll see you next time.